It's been a minute. Oh, it's been a handful of minutes, to say the least. Let me get my gain up. No. I think that's good. I think that is El Gucci Gangster. It is 1 in the morning where I'm at. I'm on Flight Sim, and I am just passing the tip of France, flying from Heathrow to Madeira in a Citation X. Yes. Would have filmed the departure, but I did not want to. In order to speed this up, because like this flight is. What was that? It's not the seatbelt sign. Cabin pressure's fine. I don't know what that was. I do not know what that was. I'm not close to overspeeding. Besides, the overspeed alarm sounds different than that. Changeover. What? Oh, I don't know what that means. I'm not gonna lie.
Citation X 750 contact press center on 127.2. Good day.
127.2 for Citation X 750. Brest Center, Citation X 750, flight
Hold
level
up.
460.
Luke Bryan, bro. I didn't know it was
Citation X
transporting Luke Bryan.
750, Brest Center, radar contact, continue to Atafi.
Yeah, Luke Bryan on the jet, bro. Fish hunt, golf drink. Okay, okie dokie. Yes, sirski, as they say. Just gonna. Where's a nice place to plop the camera? I'm gonna just say. That's okay. That's good. That's good enough for right now. Yeah. But as you can probably tell, due to the interesting time of day. Oh yeah. Before all of that, I'm gonna plop the sim rate into. How long is the flight itself? 2 hours. Alright, so I'm going to plop the sim rate into times 2. So it should take about half that time now. And I'm only doing that because PlayStation only lets you record for about an hour. So actually, I'm going to plop it into times 4. If it doesn't do any funky shit. Which I think it's not. Yep, well that looks kind of weird now, but whatever. Yeah, no. Due to the interesting time of day, nobody's on right now, so can't get them in on this. But I've got a cup of Joe. And, yeah. Kind of just fella doing this. You know. Seem to have a habit of spilling it on me, also. It's very, not very fun, but, yeah. You know, I have an interesting story to say, actually. So, yesterday, I did a goofy. I did a funny. So, it's not my proudest moment, I will not lie, but I decided to try and get a high off of DXM. And for those who don't know what DXM is, it's that cough suppressant that's in every fucking fever, flu, allergy. Actually, I don't think so. But either way, it's a very common cough suppressant used in a lot of like flu medications and whatnot. And if you take a lot of it, it acts as a dissociative hallucinogen. To spoil, to get to the funny part, to spoil the goofy news, I didn't feel anything. I didn't get anything. A lot of I think most of them were expired, actually, because like we just never replaced any of our old cough medication and stuff. So it just never. That's not what I'm disappointed in. It's how close I got to the limit for acetaminophen. Like, so the absolute maximum acetaminophen, because it's in all those medications I took to get to try and get a lot of the DXM in. The absolute maximum amount of acetaminophen that you can take before you genuinely have severe liver damage, 4,000 milligrams. I took 3,500. And so in order to actually feel anything from DXM, you need about 100 to 200 milligrams of DXM, and in all those medications, every dose was about only 10. So I got to 3,500 milligrams of acetaminophen and only like maybe 110 milligrams of DXM, and that's assuming none of those things were expired, which I think they were. So you could probably take a little bit away from those dosages, considering they're all expired probably. But either way, I ended up swallowing 2 pills and two 30 milliliters of those like disgusting ass, like flu syrups and shit. And those weren't small pills either. Those are big boys. Those are big boy pills. They're ridiculous. And all I felt was okay. I felt a little okay. Thankfully, high dosages of acetaminophen don't really feel like anything. They just feel like a normal dose. But super high doses of acetaminophen can cause liver toxicity, and not very good. Not very good. Thankfully, I think I'm fine, but probably not gonna touch alcohol for like a good while now, just to be safe. And yeah, I don't think it was worth it. It kind of felt okay. I didn't get any of the hallucinogenic effect, but to be fair, I think.
Citation X 750, contact Madrid Center on 118.275. Good day.
118.275.
Citation X 750, Madrid Center. Radar contact. Continue to course.
Okay. But yeah, no, I didn't get anything. The hallucinogenic part didn't get that at all. Didn't come close, I think, to that. The guy on Reddit said, a first-time user, a dosage should be around 123 milligrams of DXM to 220 milligrams of DXM, and he recommended 220 for first-time users. And I couldn't get close to that. I was damn near skirting the line of liver toxicity and poisoning just to get close to 100 milligrams. So if I ever want to do DXM again, it's gonna have to be like from Triple C's or some shit where it's only DXM basically. And even then, I mean, DXM's kind of a poverty drug. It's kind of a poverty. You only do it if you have nothing else to do. It's kind of the thing. The only reason I did it is because I'm not gonna lie, I was extremely bored yesterday. I was really bored yesterday, and I just wanted to feel a little different, you know? Let me take a look at the flight. Okay, that's the tip of Spain, I think. Yeah. It's a little goofy. It's a little goofy, I'll admit. Not my proudest moment, honestly. Not my proudest moment. You know, I should really probably, should probably stop with the drugs, actually. You know, just to, you know. Okay, the thing is that, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I haven't really done many drugs. I haven't done that many. Off the top of my head, I can probably think of, I'm not counting DXM and any, like, medication. I'm not counting any of that. I'm talking about recreational uses, excluding DXM from that. So, I've taken maybe about... So I've taken nicotine, alcohol, and weed. I think that's genuinely it. I think that's all I've really done, if I'm being absolutely honest. I mean, you could I guess you could probably say I took, lean before, sorta. No, I never got high off of it. So, because it was just a sip. But technically, the drugs that were in lean, I mean, technically, a tiny bit of codeine did get in me. That's about it. I wouldn't really count it, honestly, because I felt nothing from it, so... yeah. It's big goofy, big goofy. Yeah, I've not taken anything. Now, let's compare this to Big Boy Madical Madicus. Alright? Premier Mr. Hate on... Premier, I gotta hate on drugs of all times. Let's see what he's taken. This is just a ballpark of what he has openly said. Alcohol. Weed. I'm hesitant to call Vyvanse and Adderall, because he technically takes those for ADHD. He actually takes those for ADHD. I don't think he takes them recreationally. But I'm going to count them anyway because those are technically used recreationally. People do look for them for that reason. So I'm counting them, okay? He doesn't have Adderall anymore, but he uses Vyvanse now. So I'm counting those two. Alright? He has Klonopin as well. I'm not saying that he takes... Okay, so the Adderall, Vyvanse, and Klonopin are all medications for him. So he doesn't use them recreationally, to my knowledge. But I'm going to count them anyway, because those are all sought after, alright? I'm not counting DXM and, like, hydroxyzine that I take as recreational drugs, because nobody's looking for them. Nobody's going after them. Thought I heard something. But nobody's counting them. Nobody's going to say, oh yeah, I take a... Nobody's going to be proud about saying they take DXM, okay? Nobody's saying that. You take that if you're fucking poor and you're in college and you want to kill yourself. But, you know, I'm just counting those. Okay, so I'll be honest. 3 of those additions that I put are medication for big ol' Madical Madicus.
Citation X 750 contact, Lisbon Center on 119.55. Good day.
Going to 119.55. Citation X750. Lisbon Center. Citation X750. Flight level 460.
Okay, whatever. I thought I could do that, but it's no point. The co-pilot's gonna automatically tune to anyway. But yeah. So I mean, then there's also Molly. He took MDMA at one point, apparently. So that's definitely not medication. He's taking that. Granted, he doesn't really do anything nowadays, but all I'm saying is that at a certain point, he has. I don't really know if there is a point to me listing off all the shit he's said he's taken. All I am saying is that maybe that's a bit of a, you know, you've done worse, man. You've done worse. But I won't lie, the only reason I'm so interested in narcotics is they fascinate me, they interest me. I am quite fond of how they work, and I would like to experience them. So, you know, I'm just gonna be honest. I kind of try and exercise humility whenever I talk about things, so I tend to come off as a bit less knowledgeable than I actually am about things. And I'll tend to probably ask a question about something, even if I know the answer to it, just to gauge what everybody else is like. Or not that, but to gauge how everybody else thinks about it, what they think the answer is, and hoopla and all that. So I'm not gonna lie, I by far have the most knowledge about drugs. I know the most about them, how they work, like the chemistry behind them, sorta to a degree. I wouldn't say I'm a chemist at all. I'm not, but if I told you how the mechanisms of certain drugs work, I think I'm probably more qualified to say that than how anybody else in my friend group would. Except if I ask a question to big old Tristan about, hey, what does this thing feel like? He's gonna list off some crazy shit that I know factually it's not what it does. And if you're gonna come at me and say, well, you never took any of them, how could you know? And I could tell you, yeah, sure, some drugs affect people differently, definitely, absolutely. But they all are in a ballpark, alright? And sometimes the ballpark that Tristan talks about, nowhere near the ballpark that everybody else talks about. So either he's lying about it, or he doesn't actually know what it's like, and he's just trying to, you know. you know, you get the thing, you get the idea. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, as a person that has a lot of knowledge about drugs, for the most part, I'm gonna be a little bit arrogant when I say this. I know what I'm fucking talking about. I'm gonna be honest. If I bring something up, I know. If I'm bringing something up, I usually know. Okay, usually. All right, little like little buffer there in case I'm actually wrong. But I usually know how that thing works, why that thing works, and what it does. You know, so I know the risks of them. I know what it could cause. I usually know what happens if you know, like if I get overdosed and all that, or if it has an overdose to it, you know, I usually know what that is. I know what these things are. I just do. So the thing is on one end we have Tristan and Aubrey who just take shit because they want to get high, and then we have Matt who demonizes it, or I wouldn't say demonizes it, but you know, he has a good reason for why he doesn't like these things, but I'm just going to be honest with you. I think it's a little bit unfounded. Because if you're going to hate on these things, personally, I would be the kind of guy that would hate on them with knowledge behind it, you know, with a good reason why. Like, I'm not gonna touch Molly. I'm not gonna touch any opioids, or any hard opioids, I mean. Like, you know, anything past, like, anything past, like, the generic, like, you know, like, if you, like, a prescribed painkiller, that's my line, you know, like, you know, oxycodone, hydrocodone, Vicodin, which is technically, I think, hydros with something else added in it, I think like acetaminophen or some shit, but like that, codeine, and which is, yeah, those things, those are the only opioids I would probably touch, and they'd have to be from a prescription. I'm not touching any street pills at all. I'm not touching, I don't know, I mean, probably I wouldn't touch any benzodiazepines like Xanax, Klonopin, there's another one, but I'm forgetting what it's called. I probably won't touch them, I don't know. I mean, it'd have to be prescription too, as well. I'm mostly worried about me liking them too much. I'm not gonna touch... any deliriants, but like, let's be dead ass, anybody that is, and nobody's touching those. Nobody's touching those, I'm gonna be honest. Unless you're crazy, you wanna fucking turn into a chair for eternity, then come back. You know, no salvia, no diphenhydramine slash, you know, diphenhydramine. That's Benadryl, by the way. No, no Datura. Not touching any of those. No Neo DMT3, I think that's what it's called. It's a stronger version of DMT that's found on a fucking poisonous frog. On a dart frog, I think, or something like that. Either way, it's actually cheaper to synthesize than regular DMT, so some people that get DMT end up getting that, and that's way stronger than regular DMT. Bad idea. Don't do that. Okay, gonna slop back to regular speed now. That way I have time to react. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that's about it. So I have a good line that I'm drawing, and most of the reasons why I'm drawing lines is because I'm genuinely not sure how. So everything behind that line, I have a reasonably good idea of what will happen. Okay, so I should probably clarify why I don't want to touch Molly, considering the fact that everything else besides, like, above that line is a lot more crazier than MDMA. And the reason why I don't want to touch MDMA is I have, within good reason, that it will fuck up your serotonin levels for, like, over 7 years. Like, once you take it, that's fucked up serotonin for 7 years. Not to mention the fact that I've heard it, like, the way MDMA works is that it really gives you a sense of happiness, is from what I've seen from a lot of things. A lot of people say, you know, it's a party drug, so it's used, everything is really good. Everything is really, you know, happy-go-lucky, like, you know, like Patrick Image with rainbows and shit. But the thing is, your brain's not supposed to be able to, I mean, it can't handle that kind of overload of, it's like a less crazier version of, like, heroin, you know. So heroin, I know a little bit more about heroin. Heroin is an opioid. It's a really strong one too. It's a really effective one too. Like, you see fentanyl in here, 50 times stronger. It's not. So fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin, not 50 times better than heroin. potency does not equal better, right? So a lot of people call fentanyl trash heroin because it's cheaper to make. It doesn't require a plant like heroin. Heroin requires a poppy plant, which, that requires a lot. Instead of, being good at chemistry at that point, you have to be good at chemistry and also have access to a poppy plant, which is really illegal in America if you have a poppy plant. So usually it's in Afghanistan, Pakistan, that kind of thing, usually down in those places. That's, heroin's prices get jumped up from all that. So people would rather get, say you have a gram of fentanyl. That is an insane amount of fentanyl. Like a ridiculous amount of fentanyl. That could set you for a while. And it wouldn't be that expensive. So that's why people go for fentanyl. And that's why drug dealers like fentanyl so much, because it's so cheap, it's so easy, they can use a lot of it, or they can use a little of it and have a lot of it. So, they slip it into shit, they lace it, so people get addicted to it, except, they're not really good at that. They don't know, due to how potent it is, it's really easy to go over the overdose limit for fentanyl, and a lot of people tend to get overdosed and die from it. Though I've heard that apparently a lot of dealers try not to lace nowadays because I think by now they're realizing they're not good enough to use fentanyl effectively, and they end up killing their customers more. So, not a good look. Not a good look. Not to mention, I don't know. The thing is that with heroin, this was all about how Molly is beyond my line of why I'm not going to take it, is kind of coming up to the heroin thing. Heroin, everybody knows what heroin is. It's an opioid, but a lot of people don't know what it means. So a lot of opioids attach to the opioid receptor in your brain, which regulates pain and pleasure. If something slots into that receptor, like an opioid would, you get flooded with pain relief, a lot of dopamine, a lot of happiness. You're just fucking absolutely flooded with that shit. Insane amounts of pleasure. Apparently, it's one of, honestly, if you're, it's one of the most pleasurable things a human can experience, unironically. Not even fucking around when I say that shit. But that doesn't mean that you should go do it. Your brain's not supposed to be able to, it can't handle that much dopamine, that much happiness, it's it doesn't know how to take that in, so it fries your reward system immediately. So any subsequent hits, they're not even gonna come close to how good the first one was. So you're gonna be chasing it, and it's not good. So, and also opioids have a really bad withdrawal thing, but I don't need to get into that. The reason why I don't want to take Molly is because Molly acts kind of like how heroin does, in terms of what it can, what it physically can do. It's not an opioid, it doesn't slot into that, but it does block reuptake of serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, all that shit. It blocks all that from getting reuptaked, which means it's not leaving the body, which means it's sticking around for longer, and it means it's also getting flooded with more of those same neurotransmitters. So your body's getting fried, but not as much as heroin would, and I didn't want to have to deal with getting a fried reward system at all in the first place. So, yeah. I should probably put nicotine up there too, for a similar reason. Not exactly the same, but definitely a reason. Descending to 3,000 feet. I'm just gonna get this up here. There. That way I can see my TUD, but yeah. I think I might put nicotine up there, even though I've already taken nicotine. What I'm trying to say is it's going beyond that line. Well, not that line, but like, it's not behind the line of I'm not going to take it ever again, but it's definitely on the line of I got to absolutely make sure I don't get addicted to that shit. I don't want to get addicted to nicotine, because the thing is that nicotine is very gay. It's a very gay drug. It's, for one, like, it's an interesting feeling. It's really easy to take. It's legal. It feels pretty, it's okay. It's a good feeling. It's a decent feeling. Not as good as everybody describes it, in my opinion. Maybe I just don't take to it that much. Like, but the thing is that nicotine creates a problem that was never there in the first place and makes itself the solution to that problem. So if that doesn't make sense, what I'm trying to say is that second you start, taking nicotine regularly, you build a tolerance to it. And that tolerance comes with withdrawal symptoms. And those withdrawal symptoms are honestly just an amplification of probably the reason you take nicotine in the first place, as a stress relief, to think clearer and shit, feel better and all that. That's probably the reason why some people do take nicotine. Except the thing is that a built-up tolerance of nicotine and a built-up just a built-up tolerance means stronger withdrawals, which also means you're taking nicotine more. Slippery slope, really bad slippery slope too. It's not by all means impossible to quit. Obviously, anybody can probably quit with enough dedication and the right people around them, but the thing is that it's difficult to quit, not because of the withdrawals. Even though the withdrawals are pretty bad, they're not like devastating. They're not like benzo withdrawals. They're not like alcohol. If you have liver cirrhosis, if you have that, then that's up there. If you don't, then you can probably get off alcohol. But it's not as bad as liver cirrhosis alcohol withdrawal, not as bad as benzodiazepine withdrawal, and not as bad as strong opioid withdrawals like heroin. It's not as bad as those. Ironically, it's not as bad. It's not good. Obviously, it's not good, but it's not life-destroying. But it can get to that point, and a lot of people just don't really, not to mention the fact that it's just super easy to get. People can have vapes that have fucking hundreds of puffs in them. Easy peasy lemon squeeze, you just pick it up and use it. Cigarettes come in packs of multiple, I mean, the only thing keeping it from being just absolutely one-shotting everybody is that they're kind of on the expensive side for what they are. It's a bit of a shame. Same thing with weed. I don't really want to get addicted to weed, but it's not because of any withdrawal symptoms or worrying about, just anything like that. It's mostly because I do not want to become retarded. I gotta be honest, I don't want to become retarded. And those who say, oh, you're not retarded. The thing is that weed makes you happy doing fucking nothing. Genuinely. When you become addicted to weed, and you can get addicted to weed, the only difference is that people just normalize it so much so it doesn't really matter. So nobody cares if you're addicted to weed. They just think, oh, he's a stoner. It's no biggie. It's no problem, right? It's no problem until it starts deleting your IQ and raises your chances of getting schizophrenia by noticeable amounts. It's no biggie. Who the fuck cares? But it's not really that. It's definitely a part of that, but the thing is if I'm starting to crave, I don't, the thing is that when say you're drunk, okay? You're drunk, you're obviously fucked up. You can't do anything about it. You're fucked up. Everybody can tell that you're fucked up. If you're high, then people give you a reasonable amount of expectations, even though you're fucked up. Not good. Not good. In my humble ass opinion. Because at that point, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, like, if you're getting high all the time, you're not doing anything except thinking about wanting to get high again. Or thinking, I'm sorry, like, if you think that you're more creative while you're high, or you're more enlightened at any point, I hate to break it to you, but you're just genuinely fucking wrong. You're not. Nobody has the guts to tell you that you're wrong, or the thing is that if you're high so much and you think you're better at something than you actually are at something while high, then all that's doing is just positive reinforcement for getting high again, even if it's wrong. Usually it is wrong, because being high is a psychoactive drug, and it fucks with your ability for, you know, a decent amount of things. When I was high, I was fucking retarded. Not like, drunk retarded, obviously, but I wouldn't want to get in the car. I wouldn't want to try and drive. I hate kind of how stupid I am a little bit. Like, all I want to do is just consume dopamine at that point, which is just ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. It feels good. It feels great, but it's ridiculous. I like being sober, but at the same time, weird. I like being sober because I like having all my mental faculties there, and I like being at a state of awareness and readily available knowledge that I can just whip out of my ass. And I don't have to strain my brain to do it. Like, I can talk coherently and somewhat knowledgeably while I'm drunk, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's something I'd say I'm good at. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I think that concludes my talk about drugs, and I'm going to swap into aviation mode because my brain's about to get to that point anyway. So, might as well talk about my goofy little procedure. My goofy little procedure. So I have RNAV on runway 5. Okay, there's no charts for that at all. That's crazy work. That is crazy work. Crazy hamburger. Crazy. Oh, wait, that's right. That's right, bro. Oh my god. I forgot about that. Okay, so yeah, that makes a bit more sense now. So I forgot that the RNAV for Madeira is ridiculous. I'm gonna be hand flying this basically into the fucking. So I think what happens is that this RNAV brings you to a point right here. It brings you to an approach altitude, and then you just line it up. Except, what is that? That's runway 5. Oh no, that's runway. That's runway 5. So, okay, so my assumption of how this RNAV works is correct. Brings me to an approach altitude, and I just hand fly it in. I'm hoping that's what it wants me to do, because, so, it brings me at 940 feet, which is kind of low. But to be fair, I mean, I don't really know how this works, actually. Can I... VOR? That's even worse, actually. For one, I don't know how to fly VOR. It's kind of like ILS, but worse. Like, it only gives you... Like, with RNAV, I get a glide slope, but it's not a good glide slope. It's a suggestion glide slope. ILS gives you a proper glide slope with all of its with all of the beauties of it, but yeah. I am approaching in 50 miles. I'm gonna hit sim rate ×4 real quick because I want to get to this descent already. Should have swapped into into aviation brain a little bit later, I think, because that vertical profile gives a bit of a deceptive amount of distance. Because I'm 35 nautical miles out from my TOD then, but on the vertical profile it looks a lot closer. And the vertical profile is based off of the range of my MFD's map, which is about 50 to 100, so this is actually 100 miles from one end to the other. I'm a little bit retarded. Matthew, get into aviation, please. I beg you. I beg you. We're dead. I beg you. You know what? I'm gonna see if VNAV works. Never know. It might work. Honestly, who knows? Usually it doesn't for some reason, but it might work. Alright. Sim rate 2. I don't know what that is. I think it's an overspeed warning, but it's weird. Like I'm not even at my overspeed. I'm close to it. So maybe wind gusts could be pushing that like the pitot tubes past it. Okay, I have passed my TOD and it isn't using VNAV, so I'm just gonna use FLC mode, flight level change, auto throttles on descent. Yippee yippee yippee. But yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, get into aviation, broski. Or I mean, the thing is, he said that he doesn't want to get into a simulator, mostly just because he's just not into any games right now, which is honestly it's an alright reason, I think, but realistically I think it's more like
Citation X750, you are 1,000 below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain flight level 460.
Can I cancel IFR?
Climb and maintain flight level 460, citation X750.
That is not a Nazi, by the way.
Lisbon Center, citation
I forgot to
X750.
mention.
Cancel IFR at this time.
Citation X750.
I'm gonna have a lot of radio chatter right now because it's gonna cancel it, and then the co-pilot's gonna ask for it back, and then the co-pilot's gonna ask for it to cancel again,
Frequency change approved.
which is really annoying.
Lisbon Center, citation X750, flight level tree 905. Request IFR to Madeira. Ready to copy.
Citation X750 is cleared to Madeira Airport as filed. Squawk 1427.
Citation X750 cleared to Madeira Airport
Whoa.
as filed. Squawk 1427.
That's
Citation
odd. Pecky.
To Pecky following
Whoa.
heading 210. Proceed on course.
Okay.
Climb and maintain flight level 460. Citation X750.
EPAKA.
Citation X750. IFR flight plan is canceled.
E
Radar service terminated. Squawk 7000. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved. Good day.
EPAKA. Okay. EPAKA. Yoink. Okay. Forgot to clean up that little goofy old mess right there. I'm just saying, like, this is a really fulfilling game. Like, accumulating the knowledge to figure out, like, accumulating the knowledge of aviation, learning how to navigate shit like this is really satisfying. It just kind of is, you know, like, every it's like having all the dots placed right. It's like, you know, like the driving sim, but, like, better. Better. It's a little boring sometimes, especially if you're doing flights that are very, like, rather long. But then you have Simrate. You have, like, Simrate. You can just do... The flight's too long and you don't feel like actually spending 2 hours on a flight. You can always just do this, and then now that flight's only, like, 30 minutes. Personally, I mean, to be fair, the Simrate increase and decrease are not binded, so you kind of have to bind them, but once you do bind them, you have access to them. Yippee, yippee, yippee. But to be fair, also, I don't really know, this might be a humongous turnoff to Matt, because I don't know how much you value variety in your game, because, well, this game's kind of expensive, man. He can get the Aviator Edition from me, but the thing is that anything else, like stuff from the marketplace, he doesn't have that stuff for me because it's not like a DLC. Like, 'cause, like, the marketplace uses in-game currency, so he can't get what I already have. Like, this is a plane. Like, this plane right here, I bought this plane. This plane is 120 Simverse coins, which is like $35, I think. I have collectively, including spending money for the Aviator Edition, plus all of my marketplace purchases, I have spent a lot. I spent a little bit, you know. Just QNH 30.13. Yeah, I've spent like $600. It's a pretty chunk of change. Matt doesn't have to spend that much, obviously. All of my purchases were because I wanted to purchase them. Besides, I can tell Matt, to be fair, he's probably not going to want to spend that much money on virtual things. And the reason why they cost so much is because it's every plane and shit's... So, all the planes in Microsoft Flight Simulator are made by dev teams. They're all made by individual dev teams for the most part. And it's a simulator as well, so everything is, for the most part, the quality of certain things are, like, better than others. Like, this is a relatively higher quality plane. It's not study level, which is, like, the highest. You know, if you want to have something that's super realistic, getting to the study level is where people look for. Like Phoenix's A320, we don't have that. And, PMDG's 737, which we don't have that yet. But, you know, usually you can tell something's study level if they modeled all of their circuit breakers. They don't have, like, this isn't modeled. Obviously, the circuit breakers aren't modeled in this thing, because it's only 120 Simverse coins, but everything else, all of the important stuff, is. Anything that could do something relating to flight that isn't a circuit breaker, I can use. So yeah, no, this is a relatively good aircraft for a decent price, except the EFB, like the tablet that comes with it. Doesn't it works, it definitely works, but it crashes the game a lot. So, like, say I were to take this out, I were to go to a different page on the EFB, and then I'd hit the home page, crash instantly. Or if it's not very nice. Thankfully, anything that I can use that EFB for, like the QNH, which if you just leave the EFB on the home page and then stow it for flight, you'll be fine. You can just whip it out, take a look at the QNH, adjust it, put it back in. If you don't want to take that chance, you can...
is type citation C750, 7300. Request flight following.
Citation X750.
But yeah, no, if you don't want to do that, you can always just look at the ATIS, the ATIS, and just input that frequency in, and then just get the QNH from that.
Citation X750. Radar contact.
Or
6200. QNH 1020.
or the ATC will tell you.
Citation X
But you gotta
750.
take into account where that ATC is actually at. So that's Lisbon's ATC, which is, you can probably give a wild guess, is here. Where here, that QNH is not gonna make sense. The pressure. Actually, I don't know why I'm saying this, because you don't know what, nobody that's watching this video, that's in my friend group, knows what the fuck QNH is. I'll explain it. QNH can be in two different, like QNH is one measurement. That's the one with the 4 digits without the decimal. It's pressure. It's air pressure. Air pressure is nice to know because it affects your altimeter. Because planes use pitot tubes and angle of attack sensors to read their environment. Pitot tubes gauge air pressure. That's very important. And it does some other things, I'm pretty sure, but it's very important to have that stuff, because if you don't, you won't have accurate information on your flight display. Your primary flight display, like your altitude, which is very nice to have accurate. Thankfully, this thing, this EFB, tells me my QNH, or my barrel pressure, where I'm like at all times. But I don't like whipping it out because I don't want to crash a lot. Jesus, I'm gonna be flying at 3,000 feet for like 100 miles. How much fuel I got? 24. I can get away with that. I think. I might ascend back up to... I might ascend back up to 10,000 just to... Nah, there's no point. I don't know, like if I get back up to 10,000 then I'd have to descend again, and at that point it's like just goofy, so I'm just gonna do this. 1, 2... Sim rate times 4 now. Because I'm counting for the, all that. I gotta admit, this is probably gonna be one of the more challenging ones I have to do, I think. Because usually I'm only used to using the Citation X with ILS approaches. ILS being instrument landing systems. A bunch of radio beacons on each end of the runway give you vertical and horizontal guidance, being a glide slope, which would be these dots up here and down here. This is the RNAV though, or the VNAV, I mean, not RNAV. RNAV's an approach type. That 3,000, that is my VNAV altitude. And this is just the flight director. Honestly, I mean, I would love to be able to actually teach Matt this stuff and him to be interested in it. The thing is that he has to be interested in it, and he also has to understand. He also has to want to do this shit, which he might just not want to do it. Even though I kind of wish he would fucking humor me a little bit, because I humor him with all the stuff that I don't exactly have crazy interest in, and then look at that. I said I wouldn't like watches. I humored Matt. I learned about watches. Now I like it. I think the thing is that, you know, like everybody, you don't want to be the guy that's less knowledgeable than the other guy. It's just kind of how it is, and some people are better about it than others. Matt's relatively good about it. Aubrey's not, but, you know. The thing is that, like, I'm at a different level of, like, knowledge about this stuff than he is. I eclipsed him a long time ago, and I think he knows that. And he just doesn't want to seem stupid, so he just doesn't talk about it, which is a little bit sad, because I'm not, like, gonna clown on him for not knowing shit, but, you know, obviously, like everything, things can be irrational, so I'm not gonna harp about it too much, because that's, honestly, it's kind of how it is. I would get into bikes, so I have something to talk about to Matt, but the thing is that, like, it's weird. Like, to me, it's kind of like going from learning about, like, when you go from learning about something so technical and, like, rich as, like, aviation and aerospace, and then you go down to something like motor vehicles again. It's like, it's not going to be anywhere near as fulfilling for me, so I've been hesitating to learning about it, because it's like, well, I have so much I can learn about and still learn about with aircraft, and then now I'm going back to something that I could probably learn about in like maybe a month or so, and I'm gonna be at Matt's level. It's like, the thing is Matt underestimates how much fucking free time I have, and if I get into something, I will absolutely speedrun knowing about that shit. I learned about watches. Boom, shakalaka. I probably know more than, or at least at the same level as Matt, and I did that in way less time than him, I'm pretty sure. The thing is that I could probably speedrun motorcycles and shit, but then at that point, I'm not gonna be like super. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's like going from something super interesting and then going down to something that's also interesting, but not as interesting to me specifically. Also, I'm running low on. I have about 4 minutes left on my recording, and that's a little bit gay, because I still got. Because I want to get the landing in as well before that, but it's just really
Citation X750, contact Madeira approach on 120.455. Good day.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze in the landing
120.455 for Citation
before
X750.
the recording runs out. I'm going to try to, but I'm not going to lie, I don't know if I can do that. What is that? That's just Madeira's terrain, I'm pretty sure. So I think all this RNAV's going to do is going to give me a nice little VNAV descent, and then I'm going to be able to just whip the shit to the right and then make my approach visually. Which is fine. It's just not ideal. Thankfully, I have an auto throttle, so this is going to be relatively okay. I got 3 minutes left before it ends, and I'm not even fucking close. And I'm going at ×4 speed right now. With 18% fuck, I'm going to be rather light, I think, when I land. I think I'm just going to end it here. I would have liked to squeeze in the landing, but yeah. Oh well. Goodbye, gamer.